Welcome to this Friday edition of the Evening Review. My name is Sukhane, and joining us in studio is Rinaani Musutua of the Basic Income Grant Coalition. Before we go into that interview, we'll go for a short break.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome to another exciting edition.
Joining us now in studio is Rinaani Musutua of the Basic Income Grant Coalition. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me in the studio, Khone.
We see now that government is mooting this conditional income grant. As the Basic Income Grant Coalition, what are your initial impressions of this conditional grant that is being proposed?
We are really disappointed because social grants that are based on making people jump through hoops, checking if they are worthy of receiving a social grant like the basic income grant, those are not working at all. Because at the end of the day, you exclude people who are really in need of the basic income grant, who would really benefit from it. And you exclude them because you make them jump through so many hoops. At the end of the day, they're not going to get anything. It's the same thing with the 750 emergency income grant. There are still people who are calling us, please help us. We didn't get our 750. Please help us. So if you're going to keep on doing the same thing, you will end up excluding the most vulnerable people of society who would really need this the basic income grant to help them improve their lives. And at the end of the day, I think the government is looking at it at basic income grant as a mechanical thing, but it has also been proven by many studies that basic income grant, if you don't make it conditional, it actually helps improve the economy. It's like an economic stimulus policy. So if you have like 1.6 million people, and we do believe in that number, it's a number that we've always been saying all along, 1.6 million poor people in the country. I mean, who are you going to make it conditional for when you have so many people poor in the country? So you're going to end up excluding people, and, you know, as the president said, no one should be left out, and making people jump through hoops and excluding them, you know, through bureaucracy, checking who's worthy of it and who's not worthy of it. That's just going to exclude a lot of people, especially the people of the marginalized communities.
You're mentioning this exclusionary aspect that comes with this conditional income grant. Could you perhaps elaborate what you mean, because you're listing this as a potential problem towards the income grant that government plans to roll out?
Yes, when you make people now have to prove themselves as worthy of receiving basic income grant, first of all, you will set up different conditions just for bureaucratic purposes. You will set up different conditions like, your ID, your birth certificate, how much do you earn. And the thing is that Namibian people, the 52% of the population is in precarious working conditions. So these people will be all the time moving in and out of poverty. Tomorrow this person has a job for 1 week, the following week he doesn't have a job, so which means this person would have to go to the office to report themselves unemployed, and then the following week, when he gets a job, he has to go to the office again and say, no, now I'm employed, you have to take me off the state benefit. So at the end of the day, that's just going to cost the government more money, because our government doesn't even have, up-to-date statistics of who's where, who's working where, who's poor, who doesn't have money. that kind of thing. It's going to cost the government huge amounts of money trying to carry out this exercise of checking who's worthy of receiving BIG and who's not worthy. So it's not worth it at the end of the day. The money that was supposed to go and help people is what you are using to check if they should get BIG or not BIG, wasting it on bureaucratic processes.
We had the pilot project that was that was conducted a few years ago, and would it perhaps not, if I'm looking at it from one side of the coin, I'm looking at it as seeing that government could trial this on a conditional basis and see what works and what does not work, and perhaps in future look at a universal basic income grant. What do you make of such arguments?
There has been numerous studies that have proven that making grants, social grants, conditional doesn't work at all. So you waste more money on bureaucratic processes trying to figure out who should get and who should not get. What's the best thing to do, obviously, is to go universal, unconditional. In that way, then you don't waste money on bureaucratic processes. In that way, you make sure that you cover everybody who is worthy or who is really in need of financial assistance from the government. Besides, many studies have been done. And also the Oshivero Basic Income Grant pilot study, which is a renowned worldwide study, that has already proven what needs to be done. We don't need any more studies, We just like getting stuck and not moving on because we are piloting things that have already been piloted, that have already proven to us what should be done. We already know by now what should be done. So, we shouldn't be, trying to put brakes on things just to, I don't know for whose benefit. I think that it's a politics of poverty, obviously, because when you have people in poverty, you benefit from that in the sense that people remain ignorant. People are too busy struggling to survive, and they will never hold you accountable for anything because they are busy with all the other things, and they are too tired to hold you accountable.
And then lastly, just sort of now, what is this thing is government has already made itself clear, conventional income grant is going to be rolled out. How best then should government, given its announcement or its position, move now forward?
What government says, it's waiting for the economy to improve. That is completely wrong. Because, as I said before, basic income grant has been proven to also be like an economic stimulus package. It has been proven all over the world that the more money you give to the poor people, that's the only way you can increase the economy. When you give a lot of money to the rich people, yes, they do save a lot. There's a lot of savings, but it doesn't increase benefit the economy at such an extent as it would when you were giving money to the poor people. So a basic income grant is an economic stimulus package in its own. So the government shouldn't be waiting for the economy to improve. This is what will improve the economy.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Evening Review.
Thank you for having me in the studio.
That wraps up our round of weekly interviews on the Evening Review. Do have yourself a good weekend. Good night.
You're the apple of my eye, yeah. Need your sweetness to survive.